Hey everyone. So I thought it was about time to draw attention to another unit which has glaring problems in my eyes. This time I will be asking, what's the deal with Hellblasters? Now you might be thinking to yourself, what is wrong with Hellblasters? They are awesome, as they have a rather strong damage to volume to range output. And you're right, Hellblasters are pretty solid. But similar to my Aggressors video, the problem this great unit has is that it has multiple war gear options, but only one that is functionally viable in any serious sense. Specifically, I'm talking about the Plasma Incinerator options, and the game mechanics and rules choices around them. The result is that this really cool unit only has one out of its 3 war gear options, which are really part of the conversation. I use the phrase part of the conversation in many of my videos. Simply, the conversation I'm referring to is with regards to the viability of taking something over something else. I should, at the very least, be able to make some minimally viable case based on game mechanics for an option in-game over another option. If not, why is the option even there? Right now, there is no conversation to be had. Only the standard Plasma Incinerator is worthwhile. Let's go over the profiles and I'll explain why. For this purpose, we will look at a standard 5-man squad. Starting with the standard Plasma Incinerator, it offers a volume to range attribute of Rapid Fire 1 at 30 inches, meaning a squad of 5 will have the rate of fire of 5 shots at 30 inches, or 10 shots at a range of 15 inches or less. Its standard profile is Strength 7, AP-4, and 1 damage, and when supercharged, the strength is bumped to 8 and the damage bumped to 2. As far as the profiles are concerned, it's in keeping with standard plasma weaponry, with the Incinerator offering an additional point of AP over the standard plasma gun. Overall, it's a good profile, and it's costed at 15 points, which would price our 5-man squad at 165 points. Now with our baseline defined, let's move on to the Assault Plasma Incinerator. It offers a volume to range attribute of Assault 2 at 24 inches, meaning a squad of 5 will have a rate of fire of 10 shots at a range of 24 inches. So this is a pretty decent start. 6 inches reduced range is an undeniable lack, but to always maintain our volume is pretty tasty. However, its stat line has a reduced strength characteristic by 1 on both profiles. This is a huge strike against it. You see, standard vehicle toughness is 7, which means when you supercharge and put yourself at risk to do the 2 damage typical of supercharged plasma, you are wounding on 4s, which equates to 50%. This removes the Assault Plasma Incinerator from being a reliable tool to be used against vehicle targets, as you are now putting yourself at the same level of risk as the standard variant, but with reduced effectiveness. It results in the Assault Plasma Incinerator being best served as a tool against elite infantry or light vehicles, which usually sit at toughness 5 or 6. Regarding light vehicles, for the most part, light vehicles occupy an awkward space that can most usually be dealt with by the same tools that deal with standard toughness 7 vehicles. This parallel can be drawn between the Assault and the standard Plasma Incinerators as well, since the latter is superior in nearly every category, with the exception of the 9-inch window where the Assault variant can shoot at the rapid fire equivalent. But then again, the rapid fire variant has a total longer range of utility, and has a far more useful strength variance in its profiles. So based on what we just discussed, you can see that the Assault Plasma Incinerator is undoubtedly inferior, but it's priced as if it's better, at 17 points, bringing the 5-man squad's total to 175. And lastly, we have the Heavy Plasma Incinerator. This variant offers the highest range with the lowest rate of fire, offering a heavy one at 36 inches. And following the trend we have going, the only other change to its profile is its strength has been increased to 8 and then to 9 when supercharged. The issue is quite apparent. You have the worst volume and less flexibility since it's a heavy type weapon. The perceived value here is the increased range and strength on its profile. But oddly enough, the range isn't that much more, since Hellblasters have a move characteristic of 6 inches. The rapid fire Plasma Incinerator boys could just walk 6 inches and shoot anyways at the standard efficiency, so then the intended perk of the profile is its strength 9 on supercharge. I don't want to say it would never be useful, but there are far better tools to deal with the common toughness 8 targets. And even if there are no other weapon options across any other units, the standard Plasma Incinerator itself effectively invalidates this heavy variant. Think about it like this. If you're shooting at a knight, What would you rather have? 5 shots wounding on 3s, or 10 shots wounding on 4s? So again, obviously we have a worse option here. And again, similar to the assault variant, it's costed at 17 points as if it's better. No weapon option should have a profile this similar and be more expensive than its standard profile, when that same standard profile can so easily double its number of shots. It's absurd and doesn't justify its cost at all. And now you can see the issue as presented. The simple fix here would be to reduce the cost of these inferior choices, and they should be priced lower than the standard variant because they are worse. But that would be a bit boring, and ideally, it would be nice for war gear options to open up tactical choices. So instead, I'll have some fun and offer some creative solutions before we wrap up this video. Looking at the Assault Plasma Incinerator, we can see that its key distinctive feature is the scope thing here. Why does an assault weapon have a scope? I don't know, but it looks cool. Maybe it's a scanner or a dot sight, whatever the case. If I were to alter the profile based on this unique design element of the war gear option, I would say that it should grant the user the ability to advance and fire without penalty. Perhaps that gizmo is some sort of aim assist. I would also bump up the strength values to the standard 7 to 8 profile of conventional Imperium plasma tech. If for some reason there was a restriction to keep the strength lowered, I would advocate that the supercharged hit rolls of 1 should only do 1 mortal wound instead of outright slaying a Primaris Marine. In either case, this weapon is more expensive than the standard option, and it already has a reduced ranged profile. But now we have enabled it to advance and fire unhindered, so this option is now offering something that validates its increased cost. Looking at the heavy plasma incinerator, we got this sweet backpack and some sort of additional capacitor towards the front underneath the barrel. For its standard profile, I would keep everything the same, but make the damage too. The rationale being that the backpack capacitor would safely cook and help regulate the plasma to a supercharged state. Doing so, however, trades the potential rate of fire gained from the standard type and the effectiveness of the weapon's performance when moving, represented by the heavy 1 profile. This simple change also makes sense from a mechanical and toolset perspective. The increased range and the heavy 1 profile of the heavy plasma incinerator effectively means that this unit must now function like a Devastator squad. And if that is their role, I am certain nobody was ever choosing to fire a Devastator style unit with such a low volume of fire with the 1 damage profile. For the supercharged profile, I would keep it mostly the same, but increase the damage to 3, and it should obviously slay the model outright if they roll the 1. So now the heavy plasma incinerator is offering something far more interesting than it was previously. Choosing it as an option provides the Hellblasters with an adequate tool to function as Devastators. As a squad of 5, we'll have 5 shots at strength 9, AP-4 at a 36-inch range, which deals 3 damage flat. We can compare this directly to Last Cannon Devastators, which cost 165 points. The unit supports a maximum of 4 Last Cannons, which results in 4 shots at strength 9, AP-3, at a range of 48 inches, which deals D6 damage. And that is the key quality of the heavy plasma variant I am proposing. It is a ranged weapon which can deal a consistent 3 damage per shot. But on the other hand, the Devastator squad can take a cherub for an additional one-off shot. The Sergeant can give one of the Devastators a +1 to hit, and the Last Cannons have more range. And you can increase the squad size with additional Marines to gain ablative wounds. But in the Hellblasters' favor, they can also increase their squad size. Each Marine added brings in 2 wounds, and each Marine is equipped with a heavy plasma incinerator. You see what's happening, right? And this is my point. The heavy plasma incinerator is now part of the conversation. And some of you viewers might be thinking, this is insanely strong, or this is way overpowered. And to that I say, I don't think so. Running the numbers, a squad of 10 Hellblasters with the heavy incinerators cost 350 points. Targeting something dangerous and toughness 8 such as the Knight, the math hammer says 10 supercharged shots does almost 9 wounds on the Knight. And if we compare that to something like 3 Obliterators, which cost 345 for their max size, at 6 shots per model, with the average rolls of their flesh metal weapons, The math says we deal 8 damage to the knight. But if you consider the fact that the Obliterators have a better toughness characteristic, an invulnerable save, decent melee weapons, and cannot be shot at until they arrive, I don't think my suggested rules are over the top at all. And that wraps up What's the Deal with Primaris Hellblasters. I hope you enjoyed this video, or at least found it interesting. Thanks for watching. Feel free to let me know your thoughts on the Hellblaster Wargear options in the comments below. Until next time, happy wargaming.